Hello and welcome to Clever TV News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. The headlines: Proper education of the girl child in focus as the world celebrates the young female folks. Nigerian army tasked to put an end to the perennial thief-driven crisis in Taraba State. Uganda reintroduces bill prescribing death penalty for homosexuals. I am Rose. I'll do with the details of this and more. The Director General National Center for Women Development, Mary Epera Eta, says the center has embarked on programs aimed at empowering girls and women, including those living with disabilities. She says the objective is to enable the beneficiaries to explore the various opportunities available to them and contribute to their quota to national development. Mary stated this on Friday in Abuja at an event organized by the National Center for Women Development in collaboration with UNICEF and other key stakeholders to commemorate the 2019 International Day of the Girl Child. The reports. Addressing the celebrants, the Director General National Center for Women Development, Mary Ekpera Ita, said the best way to empower the girl child is to invest in her education and ensure that she completes her academic programs successfully.
Seeing girls breaking barriers that go beyond the capacity of any person, fighting for inclusion in development from all fronts of life through girls' movements such as the Girl Force and G4G in Nigeria, to raise the voice to stop child marriage, promote self-esteem, girls' education, for them to remain in school, learning life skills, and standing for their right to achieve their life dreams. In this rapidly changing world, girls who miss out on foundational education and life skills will be more vulnerable in the future. This will worsen inequality and re-echo poverty for generations to come. Thus, all hands must be on deck to break existing barriers to girls' education in Nigeria.
For the Minister of State for FCT, Ramatu Tijani, parents should continue to push for the education of the girl child to enable them meet up with global change despite challenges including gender discrimination and sexual harassment.
It is high time Africa parents focus on educating and empowering the girl child so that they can stand shoulder to shoulder with their counterparts in other developing nations. We should stop dimming the light of the children, especially the girl child, but focus on helping them to achieve their innermost dreams.
As the world celebrates the girl child, what exactly does the day set aside for them mean? And of course, their expectations. Some of them blur their minds.
Period we have been here, we have learned so many things in different topics like skill acquisition, learned how to cook, produce soap, cream, disinfectant, shoe, bags, and beans making, to mention but a few as you can see from our stand, and we say thank you, UNICEF. Also, we received lectures on SDG, leadership, mentoring, etc. I tell you, we are inspired by our role models and now we know our rights as children, especially the girl child.
So I urge everyone, even the government and everybody, to see us as someone, not as nobody. As a girl child in general, the discrimination sometimes in both in parents, in societies, in things they do, sometimes like, okay, I want to be on the and they'll be like, no, this course is for boys. They should stop discouraging girls on what they want to be or what they want to do. They should try to encourage them and teach them more skills on becoming that thing and help.
Celebration lived up to its billing with some exacting presentations by celebrants drawn from the various schools in Nigeria, including the FCT. Still on the International Day of the Girl Child, a non-governmental organization this Friday distributed sanitary pads and exercise books to students of Grace of God Secondary School, Maraba, Nasarawa State. A correspondent has the details in our report.
While celebrating this year's International Day of the Girl Child with students of Grace of God School, Mararaba, Gift Jimo Foundation says the girl child is the future and as such should be given high priority by government at all levels in the society. As the CEO of the foundation, Gift Jimo explains this should involve putting in place adequate structures to support and empower the girl child to achieve her potentials in life.
The girl child is a very important person in our society that we cannot do without because this outreach was organized to educate the girl's child and also let them know that they are powerful and they can be whoever they choose to be, not minding whatever the society or life throws at them. Because when you educate one girl child, you're educating a nation, you're enlightening a whole nation because that girl child is going to give birth to more children, which of course is going to be an increase to the society. So we have to make sure they are being properly cared for and they are being taken care of. They are given all the necessary support they need. Because if all those things are not put in place, there's going to be a misfunction in our society because these are the people that will train and breed younger ones in our generation. So we have to make sure that everything we do for them are in the right way so that they can also be an example to other people.
Elated by the foundation's gesture, the school's vice principal administration, Mrs. Chioma Chide Uchendu, urged the government to offer necessary support to NGOs that are ready to train and educate the girl child.
The government has to come into it by empowering NGOs like this that have the time, that have devoted themselves to training, educating, organizing seminars to expose the girl child to the dangers of certain things in the society and the way out of any problem they see themselves tomorrow.
Other Nigerians at the event have this to say.
I feel the girl child should be given more support in terms of education and also in terms of welfare, giving them things they need to better themselves as girls and also teach them, in all ramifications. I mean, teach so that they could, understand what it means to be a girl child, understand the role they play in the society, understand how important they are when it comes to making decisions, not for them, not just for themselves, for their family, and also for the society at large.
As far as the growth process of these little ones is concerned, these are some of the dimensions. Because we really have to understand that everything is not done on the box. The aspect of the moral and how to become, impact to the society.
Students of Grace of God Secondary School, Mararaba, also expressed their gratitude and expectations from the government and society.
I appreciate you for your word of advice, your encouragement, your teachings for us to be moral. I say thank you and may God replenish what you have lost. I really, really appreciate you. I really appreciate everyone that has ever inspired me. When I grow up and I enter university, I'm going to start my own age.
I'm really very impressed and I cannot even say because I'm really encouraged now.
As Nigerians celebrate the girl child, the worry many of them want quickly addressed is the growing cases of child abuses, particularly sexual harassment in the nation's citadel of learning.
President Muhammadu Buhari says that stricter laws are needed to prevent girls from being abused in our schools. Reacting to the recent high profile revelation of sexual abuse cases in institutions of higher learning in the country, President Buhari said he is glad that the incident exposed through undercover news reporting at the University of Lagos has spurred an amendment to the nation's laws by the National Assembly. The president, speaking through his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, in a statement said such proposed amendments by the legislature will get his full support as long as the laws conform to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The statement said, and we quote, the country must do more to address incidents of sexual violence, sexual abuses in our schools, discrimination, human trafficking, and cultural practices that violate women's rights. President Buhari urged law enforcement agencies and school administrators to take up such cases with all seriousness to ensure that perpetrators face the consequences of their actions. The president, however, implored survivors and their families to avoid cover up, asking them to be encouraged to come forth and report cases of abuses wherever and whenever they occur. Also reacting to the scandal in the nation's ivory towers, the Nigerian Senate on Wednesday revisited the sexual harassment bill passed by the 8th Senate. The 8th Senate had proposed a 5-year sentence and 5 million naira fine for lecturers convicted for sexually harassing male or female students. However, President Muhammadu Buhari declined to give assent to the bill. At Wednesday's plenary, the Deputy President of the Senate, Oviomo Agigi, moved a motion that the bill be revisited. According to the bill, an educator will be guilty of committing an offense of sexual harassment against a student if he or she has sexual intercourse with a student who is less than 18 years of age, has a sexual intercourse with a student or demands sex from a student or a prospective student as a condition to study in an institution, or as a condition to the giving of a passing grade or the granting of honor and scholarships. Omoagige, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Yomi Odunuga, later on Wednesday urged Nigerians to support the bill. He commended Aisha Buhari, BC Fayemi, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, and those who supported the BBC for beaming the light on the hidden menace. He said, concerned parents and youth should help energize support for proposals towards enacting an effective law against sexual harassment in workplaces and educational institutions. The Presidential Advisory Committee on Anti-Corruption said it has recovered over 1 trillion naira and many other assets illegally acquired by public servants. Chairman of the Advisory Committee, Professor Itse Sege, disclosed this while speaking with State House correspondents after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. A correspondent, Aniete Patrick, has more.
Professor Sagi, who described the recoveries as unprecedented, said the monies have been plugged back into the system to fund the country's national budget.
You will be surprised if you think back that nobody talks of oil, fuel subsidy, um, corruption anymore. Previously, we were losing almost 400 billion naira a year on fake fuel subsidy payments, but now it's zero. So generally, the tone of the country has improved. Many amongst us, the elites, people like me, who were beneficiaries of corruption, who are the real losers in this era of integrity, will not admit the truth, but that is the truth.
He said such much progress has been recovered in the anti-graft war since the term of office of the 8th National Assembly, which he claimed frustrated his committee's efforts to rid the system of corrupt practices.
The country has gained tremendously. Corruption has gone down. There is still corruption, but it's gone down. And anybody who indulges, particularly a state officer of the state who engages in it, knows the risk he's taking. We have the TSA, we have the bank verification number. All those things have done, made an incredible change in our level of anti-corruption. Now you cannot have more than 1 BVN. You cannot hide money in the banks anymore. And agencies cannot hide money in various bank accounts which they spend without the knowledge of the government. Everything is in one place. Everything is transparent thanks to this government.
Professor Sagi further said that the anti-graft war has helped to drastically reduce corruption in the public sector, particularly in the area of fake subsidy bidding. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
You're watching Clearview Television. News still needs to continue shortly after this break.
Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's city, Abuja.
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of KVA Television.
How do you describe this your encounter with Jesus Christ and became born again?
I wasn't looking for Jesus. He was not lost. I was the one lost. He found me.
A man must understand first that he is a creative being.
Kwarai da gaske to ai in ba zaman lafiya.
A Clearview Television suna kokari fiye da nake tsammani saboda na farko dai duk lokacin da mutum ya rajibe su ana wani program zai same su.
Nam.
Hello guys, welcome to the entertainment today on your favorite TV station, Clearview Television.
Everything nice. I turn a night to her birthday.
That's why I'm not looking up to him.
Okay.
If I'm looking up to him now, he's saying he's having bad hair now. I will start constructing bad hair so that I will be like Papa.
Hello and welcome to your favorite program on Clearview Television, you and your host.
Your special edition of the rescue mission because of the season.
Prophet Ibrahim asked Allah that, "Oh Allah, what can you do for me? Please give me a son, even for me to slaughter him for sacrifice. I'm ready to do that."
Welcome back. The Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, is threatening another showdown following what it describes as the federal government's failure to implement agreements reached with the union, as well as halting continued victimization of its members by management of some institutions. The union, at the end of its meeting in Oka, the Anambra state capital, has issued a 21-day ultimatum to government to address its demands or to call out its members for another round of indefinite strike. We have more on the outcome of the consultative meeting.
Rising from its 96th executive meeting holding in Anambra State, the body issued a 21-day ultimatum to address its agitations or risk indefinite withdrawal of the services nationwide.
So the union is hereby issuing a 21-day ultimatum which will elapse the 31st of October to the government to address issues as listed satisfactorily or risk the indefinite withdrawal of services of our members nationwide.
President of the union, Osman Duse, who read out the 6 points communique, enumerated the areas of concern to include attempts to forcefully enroll its members into the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, non-implementation of Federal Polytechnics Act 2019 amendment, as well as continued victimization of union officers, among others.
No release of the need assessment forms for polytechnics, no release of any forms of revitalization fund for the sector. 2. Sustained report of shortfalls in personnel releases in polytechnics. 3. Non-payment of allowances in some polytechnics. 4. Non-payment of salaries in some state-owned polytechnics.
The 6 points communique was titled Renewed Threats to the Survival of Polytechnic Education in Nigeria, the position of the ASUP, which the group maintained that only an efficiently run educational system will deliver Nigeria's quest for a knowledge-driven economy.
The Nigerian Army has again been tasked to take proactive measures that will bring to an end the perennial Tiv Chukun crisis that has continued to hamper the maintenance of peace and security in Taraba State. The state governor, Darius Ishaku, renewed the plea while receiving in audience the general officer commanding of the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, who was represented by Brigadier General Briggs Daniel. We have more on the visit.
The soldiers were in Taraba State in line with the presidential directive on the restoration of security in the volatile southern part of the state. Brigadier General Daniel Briggs led a team from the Nigerian Army's 3 Division to pay a courtesy visit to Governor Darius Ishaku. They told the governor that Operation Akpatuma will be relaunched as one of the strategies to ensure swift response to distress calls during crisis. Brigadier General Briggs says the army's operation to restore peace in Taraba will last 3 months.
It is expected that this exercise will act on timely information that will enable us to carry out some internal security operations within that general area and other areas within Taraba State.
Governor Ishaku asked the armies to disarm the bandits of sophisticated weapons. He restated his confidence in the Nigerian army and believes that the operation will be an opportunity to bring a lasting solution to the crisis in the state.
You have our prayers. You have our goodwill. We have all the confidence on you. We will continue to pray for you. We will continue to assure you of all we can do to make sure that your work is smoothly done.
The Nigerian Army operation in Taraba State will also create a human rights desk where cases of human rights abuses by soldiers can be reported.
The Nigerian Air Force has commenced the training of another batch of Special Forces personnel to boost internal security operations in the country. Our correspondent reports that the course, which began on Wednesday, is holding at the Air Force Regiment Training Center and is in Bauchi, the Bauchi state capital. The report.
Flagging off the training of the 200 Special Forces, Course 5 for 2019 at the Regional Training Center, Bauchi. Air Vice Marshal India Amin urged the students to brace up to the challenges ahead.
The Special Forces capabilities hold great importance to military operations worldwide. This is because they are highly trained and motivated forces who possess an array of skills.
The commandant of Regional Training Center says the training is to equip the personnel ahead of challenges.
The Nigerian Air Force has continued to conduct operations to support surface forces to find and neutralize these hostile elements in its hard role.
The training is aimed at defending the Nigerian Air Force assets and as well as other critical national infrastructures.
The World Bank has commenced the distribution of teaching materials to schools in communities ravaged by insurgency in Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria. We have more on the distribution exercise which took place in Yola, the state capital.
There are hundreds of primary and secondary schools in the states, 7 local government areas in the north. Adamawa states are the most affected by the activity of insurgency. Governor Umaru Fintiri appreciated the intervention by the World Bank and says it is in line with the state's approved work plan for developing education sector. He says his administration will ensure the judicious implementation of projects aimed at assisting victims of insurgency and other crises in the state.
All support projects and companies in the education sector with a sincere sense of purpose to join the administration to achieve this common goal of bringing back the lost glory of education in Adamawa State.
Teachers in the area have gone through traumatized experience as a result of incessant attacks. The project coordinator of Adamawa State Education Program Investment Projects, Otman Bakari, reveals that the teachers are undergoing trainings to help them recover from the psychological trauma.
We have 9,060 teachers that we pay them incentives of 9,000 naira so that to help them minimize some of the psychological problems that they might encounter. Instead, a little problem might make them to ill-treat a child up to date. So to avoid this problem, we train and provide such incentives to them.
The World Bank is expected to continue with the donation of school materials to selected areas till middle of next year.
Appeal court orders for fresh elections in Kogi West. Nigerian lawmaker Dino Malaye on Friday lost the appeal of a tribunal ruling that nullified his election as the senator representing Kogi West Senator District in the Senate. The Kogi State National Assembly Election Tribunal Friday, 23 August, nullified Dino Malaye's election. Malaye, a candidate of the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP), was declared the winner of the February election by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). His victory was challenged in court by Smart Adeyemi, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC). Adeyemi challenged Malaye's victory on 3 grounds of irregularities, over voting and non-compliance with the Electoral Act. The three-man panel, led by Justice A.O. Chijioke, in a unanimous judgment, accepted Adeyemi's appeal and ordered re-election. Despite the court's ruling, Malaya said, "In all things, I give God the praise." He continued that he who started a good thing will definitely complete it. Malaya expressed hope in winning the re-election ordered by the court. Non-governmental organizations in Kogi State have called on political parties, their candidates and supporters to ensure violence-free governorship election scheduled for November 16. The call was made at a one-day sensitization workshop in Lokoja, the state capital, where the convener, Eunice Agbogun, reminded the candidates and their supporters that success at the polls should not be a do-or-die affair.
The organizers of the workshop say with the governorship election fast approaching, the time to highlight the need for a peaceful and credible election is now.
In collaboration with the National Democratic Institute with support from USAID and UK Aid. And the whole essence of this joint town hall meeting is to bring all the key stakeholders in the electoral sphere so as to give their commitment towards ensuring that the coming November 16 governorship election is peaceful and that the environment is free from violence so that our women will be able to participate fully and also our youth will be able to participate fully in the election.
Some of this will help educate the people more in terms of what the respective political parties, and candidates have to offer. Our expectation really is that there will be peaceful, free, fair, and credible elections in Kogi State, and that the people of Kogi State will go out and elect the candidates of their choice.
The final word, just very simple. Election no be war. Use your sense. Vote, don't fight.
Governorship candidates and their running mates and other politicians present promise to get more women and youth involved if elected.
I said earlier on that the secretary to the state government, the engine room of government, is headed by a woman. The head of service, the engine room of the civil service, is headed by a woman. Today, for the first time, we have a female minister representing Kogi State in the Federal Executive Council. So it's a time for women. So, and since they are the most populated in the voting exercise, they should take up the opportunity. They are better with Yaya Bello.
Our the main focus of administration is going to be majorly on women because they constitute more than 50% of the electorate. And there is no way the efforts of women in both politics and otherwise cannot be underestimated. So we'll make sure we'll bring women into governance.
I'm very sure we'll increase this to 50-50 because we value women.
What we have advocated is to deal with the analog politicians. We're now going to have all inclusive to gradually eradicate old men in politics to allow
Political parties present called on the support of the people to ensure a credible vote.
We have what we can point to as what we've done in 3.5 years, and which will give the electorate confidence that another 4 years would help this government, led by His Excellency Alhaji Yahya Adoza Bello, my principal, the opportunity to consolidate on the gains in the last 3.5 years in education, health, job creation, infrastructural projects, and of course, the reform in the civil service.
See, it's not me, it's not about me, it's about the commoner. It's about the people on the street, the electorate. Go down, make your questionnaire, go around. They will tell you, we came to this stage like a local government, the state quarter today. We bring it to this stage we have today. The double lane, the project, we did road, don't mind whether federal government or state government road. We handed it. If you marry a wife, you don't know the value of that first wife, or you marry another one. When it starts out, then you say, no, I'm sorry, madam. So that's what's happening in Kogi State.
Representatives of the major parties fielding candidates at the November 16th governorship election attended the workshop.
European Union Ambassador to Nigeria, Kautul Kausen, says the union remains committed to promoting and deepening democracy in Nigeria. He made it clear that the EU has no preferred candidates for the various elected positions in the country, either at the federal or state level. Kausan made the clarification during a visit to Bayelsa State Governor Sereke Dixon at Government House, Yenagoa. A correspondent reports that Kausan was accompanied on the visit by his Polish counterpart, Joanna Taraska.
The visit to Bayelsa State by the EU ambassador to Nigeria is his second since his posting to the country. Discussion during his meeting with Bayelsa State Governor Sarika Dixon centered on the need for security and stability of Bayelsa State before, during, and after November 16 governorship election.
The European Union is completely impartial. We don't have any preferred candidates. Our only preferred candidate is democracy itself. Our hope is, of course, to be able to see a level playing field here, making sure that there will be indeed free, fair, credible, and maybe above all, peaceful elections.
We stand for peaceful elections. Our candidate and our party are on the ground, and we've always, and we have in the last 8 years demonstrated what we are in power for. So we don't have any need to resort to violence. And as a government, we've also shown clearly that we have no room for violence, no room for brigandage.
The EU ambassador called for the implementation of recommendations of the EU election observation team that observed the 2019 general election in order to help deepen the nation's democracy.
There is a very important catalogue of recommendations that can be converted into actions that would, in return, strengthen the democracy here.
We support the inclusion of women and youth. Women are the wheels of Africa, and not only of Africa. Without them, there is no true democracy, and they should be involved.
Before leaving Nigeria, the EU ambassador and his team are scheduled to talk with the governorship candidates of the major parties, the PDP and the APC.
More than 244,000 business names have been registered in the last 2 years. The Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, says the increase is a fallout of its 50% cost reduction initiative earlier this year. Our correspondent, Anita Patrick, has more.
Nigeria's Corporate Affairs Commission introduced the business incentive strategy to encourage more business registration in the country. The strategy involves a reduction in business registration fees from 10,000 to 5,000 naira for 3 months. The agency now says the initiative has helped to significantly push up number of registered businesses.
We successfully implemented the Business Incentive Strategy (BIS), under which cost of registration of business name was reduced by 50% to enable MSMEs formalize their businesses. A total of 244,428 businesses were registered during the 9-month period.
The Commission also refutes allegations of abuse of office levied against its Registrar General.
We deepen communication with stakeholders and the general public through periodic customers forum, public sensitization, open market campaign, and other forms of public engagements. Ensure the Commission's consistent participation in the nationwide micro, small, and medium enterprises clinics under the Office of the Vice President.
The Nigerian authorities have worked closely with Corporate Affairs Commission to address setbacks to registration and post-registration of businesses. This is one of government's strategies in improving the doing business environment, thereby helping more businesses come into the formal sector. Anita Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
And you're still watching Clearview Television. News to news will continue shortly after this timeout. Welcome back. And from the foreign scene, Uganda has announced plans to reintroduce a bill which would bring in the death penalty for homosexuals in the East African nation. The legislation known as the Kill the Gays bill was thrown out 5 years ago on technical ground, but the government now has plans to resurrect it within weeks. There has been massive recruitment by gay people in schools, and especially among the youth, where they are promoting the falsehood that people are born like that. However, the Ethics and Integrity Minister Simon Lokodo says homosexuality is not natural to Ugandans. He says, though, the country's current penal law is limited as it only criminalizes the act. Anyone involved in promotion and recruitment of homosexuals will be criminalized and given the death sentence. Lokodo said Uganda's bill, which is supported by President Yoweri Museveni, will be reintroduced in Parliament in the coming weeks, and it is expected to be voted on before the end of the year. He is optimistic it would pass with the necessary two-thirds of members present. A shortfall in numbers killed a similar bill in 2014, as the government had lobbied legislators ahead of its reintroduction. And three people died and two were injured when a highway bridge collapsed on Thursday in China's eastern province of Jiangsu. The bridge in the city of Wuxi fell on three cars below, killing three people in two of the vehicles, although the third vehicle was empty. Report says the three cars and two trucks fell from the bridge as it collapsed. City and Transport Ministry officials have already commenced investigation into the cause of the accident. And you're still watching Clearview Television. News next is sports.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
Welcome back. And on sports, England manager Gareth Southgate has tipped Nigerian-born Bukayo Saka to challenge for a place in the English squad ahead of the Euro 2020. England saw off a stiff competition from Nigeria to capture Chelsea's duo of Tammy Abraham and Fikayo Tomori. The duo are in three Lions squad for their Euro 2020 qualifiers with Czech Republic and Bulgaria. The former England under 21 coach believes his boys can get another one over Nigeria by naming the talented as one of the exciting youngsters at his disposal for next summer's tournaments. Born in England, Saka is of Nigerian descent and has represented England at under 16, under 17, under 18, and under 19 level. Saka scored the winner for the England under 18 team in an away game against France and also scored on his under 19 debut against Moldova in 2018. And five-time champions Nigeria have landed in host nation Brazil for this year's FIFA Under 17 World Cup finals holding from October 26 to November 17. Head coach Manu Garba, who led the 2013 winners, is confident that the class of 2019 is in Brazil to reclaim the trophy. The early departure will afford the Golden Eaglets a full 2 week final preparatory period before their opening match of the tournament against Hungary in Guangzhou on October 26. Nigeria will then clash with Ecuador at the same venue on October 29 and later tackle Australia in Brasilia on November 1 in a Group B encounter. Nigeria won the 1985, 1993, 2007, 2013, and 2015 tournaments but missed the 2017 finals in India. And Nigeria's representatives in this season's CAF Confederation Cup, Eyimba Football Club and Enugu Rangers have been drawn against teams from South Africa and Togo. In the draws conducted Wednesday in Cairo, Eyimba will face South Africa side TS Galaxy, while Rangers from ASCK of Togo. Eyimba dropped from the CAF Champions League to the second-tier club competition after 1-0 aggregate defeat to Al Hilal last month. However, they will have their hands full against newcomers TS Galaxy, who are competing at the tournament for the first time after beating Kaiser Chiefs in the 2019 final. Rangers, on their part, will square up against four-time Togolese League champions ASCK. The former Champions League winners will host TS Galaxy in the first leg, while Rangers travel to Togo for the first leg on the weekend of October 27. The winners of the playoffs will advance to the group stage of the 2019 CAF Confederation Cup. And Nigeria Special Eagles are into the final of the 2019 Amputee African Cup of Nations in Angola. Nigeria defeated Tanzania 3-2 on Thursday to qualify to book a place in the final against the host Angola. Nigeria's top goal scorer Calvin Kingsley, Onyeleke, Sarafuddin, and Bremal Mohammed netted one each. The team qualified for the semi-finals with 10 points from 4 matches and has scored a total of 10 goals in the tournament. And British number 2 Heather Watson reached a WTA semi-final for the first time since January 2018 with victory over Magda Linette at the Tianjin Open. Watson, 27, saved a 4 match point to beat Polish world number 42 Linette 7-5, 6-7, and 4-7, 7-6 to 8-6 in 3 hours and 2 minutes. She last reached a WTA semi-final at the Herbert International 21 months ago. Victory over 8th seed Linette ensures Watson will return to the world top 100 next week. She will play Russia's Veronika Kudermetova or Ukraine's 4th seed Diana Yatsmenka for a place in the final. And that's all for the news. But before we go, a recap of our top stories. Proper education of the Nigerian girl child came under focus in Abuja on Friday as the world celebrates the young female folks. Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku has tasked the Nigerian army to put an end to the perennial thief-driven crisis in the state. And we also told you that the Ugandan government is set to reintroduce a bill prescribing death penalty for homosexuals in the country. That's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Clearview TV. Like us on Facebook for Clearview Television. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online. Follow us on Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Night Concert with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Rose Audu. Many thanks for joining us.